This episode of WDW Today is being sponsored by MEI and Mousefan Travel, and MEI and Mousefan Travel is the official travel agency of WDW Today. And if you're looking to plan your next trip to Walt Disney World, why not make it easier on yourself? Let the good travel agents at MEI and Mousefan Travel help you plan your next trip. Give them a try. Visit them at www.mousefantravel.com.
This is Walt Disney World Today. Give us 5 minutes and we'll give you the world.
It's Wednesday, October 22nd, 2008, and this is episode 478 of WDW Today. I'm Matt Hochberg of StudiosCentral.com. Joining me on today's show is Mike Scopa, a blogger over at allears.net. Welcome, Mike.
A friendly word of warning. Something you won't find in any guidebook.
The Tower of Terror in the library.
That's correct.
Also joining us today is Mike Newell of Mouse World Radio. Welcome, Mike.
Hey, Matt. What's going on?
Not much, Mike. Ready to answer some listener questions?
As ready as you are.
Okay, well, we might as well answer some questions anyway. It's Wednesday. We're answering listener questions, and we'll start out with a question from Kristen from Minneapolis, Minnesota, the land of Anne. Writes, hello, Matt, Mike, and Mr. Eye Candy. I guess he means Len. Too bad he's not here. This October, my friend and I will run in the Tower of Terror 13K. Yes, we did it last year. It has to be better. The price is more, so that means it's better. Anyway, the morning of the race, we have a 10 a.m. ADR at Chef Mickey's. We plan on driving to Chef Mickey's to eat and then go to the Magic Kingdom for a few hours. Is it okay to leave our car in the Contemporary lot, or is that frowned upon? We're staying at Caribbean Beach, so we will have a parking pass. Would it be a better idea just to take Disney transportation, not deal with any of this? I had some not-so-stellar experiences with Disney transportation at Caribbean Beach. The official word, if you ask Disney, would be that they would frown upon that, and you should not do that. In terms of, I would tell you that your bus idea would be a good idea, except for the point you brought up, Kristen, which is that you're staying at Caribbean Beach and their bus system kind of stinks. If I were you, I would just drive your own car there. People do it all the time. If you're going to go check in, they'll give you a 3-hour pass, I'm sure, or at least they have in my case. And I left the car there before for more than 3 hours. No one's going to tow your car at Disney World. Unless you left it there for like a week or something. You leave it there for a few hours. Obviously, you're not going to be there even the entire day because you have to get back for the Tower of Terror race that day. I think you'll be fine. I wouldn't worry about it. I don't know. Scopa, do you have anything? Do you agree, disagree?
I disagree. I think that I disagree that what you're saying about the car not being towed. There's always a possibility that the car may be brought towed to a central area. I've often heard that because of certain complaints that they at any time could say, we're going to take the car and we're going to tow it to Car Care Central. So you'd have to somehow get to Car Care Central, pay the towing fee to get your car out. I think. Have
you heard of that happening? I've never heard of that.
I have never heard of it happening, but I've heard of it being discussed. Now, the thing is that at the Contemporary, because of the new DVC building, all those suites that they're what is it called? The Bayside Towers.
Yeah, BLT. Bay Lake Towers.
It's official now, I guess. There are many parking spots which are no longer there. So I think it's even more difficult to park at the Contemporary. I think that those parking spaces are at an even more higher premium. So I mean, look at what's so hard about going to the TTC? You know, parking there. You take the monorail to the Contemporary, have your breakfast, then go to the Magic Kingdom. You know, I think that if everybody, look at it this way, if everybody did this, then it would be a real problem. So why even have one person do this?
Fine.
I really frown upon this. I don't think it's and I can tell you why, because one night this was and I don't want to get away from the question, but let me give you an example why. Give you a reason as to why I feel this way. 2003 Mouse Fest. You guys weren't even alive then, I guess. So Carol and I had gone to a party at Celebration, a party that was being given by Mary Waring, and we came back and we were staying at the Polynesian, and I could hardly find a parking spot. And I couldn't figure out why. I said to Carol, I said, what's going on? I don't think all these people are here. And as I was walking from the parking lot, I had to park somewhere in the far back end. I'm looking at all the windshields, and some of them said, Kona, reservation at Kona, reservation at Ohana, Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party, and they were all like 6:30 or 5 o'clock, 6:30 or whatever. And this was like 10:30 at night. So my point is this: if everybody abused that 3-hour allotted time, then there would be some problems, and it would make it more difficult for a lot of other people. So I just refrain. I'm really dead set against anybody abusing parking at the resorts.
All right, well, it's difference of opinions there. Kristen also adds, thanks for settling a bet. My husband bet that the mini donuts could not be found on Disney property. I disagreed. It's Disney. Other than quality coffee, they have everything. If he won, he said something about a French maid's costume. If I won, Narcoossee's baby, I'm swapping him away. What are the chances Orlando Bloom will be in Walt Disney World the week of the run? I'd settle for Zac Efron if I had to. Wait, is he old enough? I have standards. So good luck with your good luck with that bet, Kristen.
Good luck, bro.
Next email is from Rob Rodriguez. Remember, he was the one that we planned his trip from scratch.
Oh, yeah.
And Rob sent in some follow-up emails, and of course, we're more than happy to answer them for him. He says, this is Rob from the second Planning a Trip from Scratch show. First off, thanks for all the advice you guys gave the show. We're set to go in the middle of December for about a week and received a great deal from Mouse Fan Travel.
Nice.
Thanks for the gift certificate, Annette. Anyway, a few quick questions. You talk about using old fast passes. How old are you talking? I have some from 2004 for a few rides that we kept as souvenirs. Have you ever seen someone use a 4-year-old fast pass? Dare me to try? I dare you to try, but they really cracked down on it. It used to be very easy. I mean, we used to joke about it if you listen to some older episodes that you really could bring the fast passes that were years old. But now the new fast passes, the ones they use today, have at the very least the date written on them. Like it'll say October 4th or whatever on there, and so that because of that, it's very hard to use old ones. You have to have a cast member who just does not care. Basically, you're asking to. I would think the odds are not in your favor, and you're asking to get rejected from that thing over there.
They made out of a
agree.
different. They made out of
Mike.
a different material now, so that's the first thing that's going to set it off.
Yeah, different paper stock, different design.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it ain't happening. Don't waste your time. Rob also wants to know, we'll be arriving about noon on our first day and wanted to use a touring plan for the studios. Where should we start in the plan? Does lunch in the plan usually equate to noon? Len's not here, so I'll try to answer this for him. I think usually the lunch goes around noontime-ish. When you arrive at noon, I mean, obviously you could go right to lunch and start there. Coming around noontime for the studios, it's kind of tough. I mean, depending if you're on off-season, you might have a chance at a Fast Pass for Toy Story Midway Mania for later in the day. I'm talking like close to park closing time, if it's still available. So you could try for that. You got to prioritize what you're interested in doing. If you want to ride the rides, if you want to do Toy Story, if you want to do Tower of Terror, Rock and Roller Coaster, Great Movie Ride, Star Tours, start with Toy Story. The line will never get low for that one. So, although you might try it during the parade, that might be the only other time that might dip a little because a lot of the kids that usually frequent Toy Story go for the Block Party Bash Parade, and of course that's at 3 o'clock. So you could try that. So what I would do is I would go to Tower, Coaster, do Great Movie Ride, Star Tours you can fit in at any time. There's hardly ever a wait for that. And then at 3 o'clock, just be cognizant of the time. So that way around 3 o'clock, you can go right into line for Toy Story. And that may drop the wait, anywhere. It may drop at 20 minutes, 30 minutes, who knows. But I mean, when I say 20, 30 minutes, it sounds like a lot. But if it was starting at like 100 or something like that, it's just a drop in the bucket. Rob also wants to know, you've talked about shipping a box before you leave with items so you don't have to carry them on the plane. I can't find anything about this online. Where do you send it? How long will they hold it? Newell, you've done this before.
Yeah, well, what I did was I packed a box of stuff and sent it through the post office to the resort that I'm staying at. Usually, if I'm going down on a Thursday, I try to get to the post office no later than the Monday. I like to give it 3 days before it gets there. And when you write on the box, you put your name and address. You can put down, please hold, on the box, please hold for guests, Newell arriving whatever date. This way they get an idea. And then it doesn't also hurt to call ahead of time. Just let them know that you're sending something.
Okay.
I've never had trouble. I don't know if anyone else ever has, but I've always shipped down stuff, and now I have Matt, so I just ship it to him.
Yeah, but I mean, obviously, what you've done before worked, so I think the 3-day rule might be a good one to use, Mike.
Yeah, that's I like to give it. Well, I'm coming from New York, so New York, I like to give it 3 days to get to Orlando.
Rob has one more question. I think it'd be a good one for Mike Scopa. He says, and last but not least, do you have any special tips for things to do at the World during the Christmas season? We know about the Osborne Lights and the processional, but is there anything else we should be looking into?
Epcot to me is the place to spend most of your time. The holidays around the world, the World Showcase, is a very good thing to plan when you're down there. You could take your time listening to the storytellers in each of the pavilions. This is especially good if you have your family with you, and gives the children a chance to hear what kind of traditions are held throughout the world. That would be number one. Of course, there's the Candlelight Processional, which is in Epcot, across from the American Adventure. It's in the American Gardens Theater, I believe that's what it's called. That's a good holiday tradition. There's the Christmas tree lighting at every resort, especially every park, especially Epcot. There's the Lights of Winter, which is a great surrealistic experience in Epcot. It takes place between Future World and World Showcase. So Epcot would be the place I would focus on. Also, there is the Illuminations Christmas tag. It follows after the Illuminations regular show every night. One thing to keep in mind is that Illuminations runs at 9:30 during the holidays. So Epcot to me is the prime place to be for the Christmas stuff that you can see down at Walt Disney World.
And don't forget also the resorts. The different resorts have the different decorations, and that's something that I think you should definitely also look into.
Absolutely.
Next question is from Karna. It's Charna. Karna. Anyway, somebody from Rhode Island. He writes, "Hi everyone. Hope you get a chance to answer this in time. I'll be a concierge guest. I was wondering if you should tip the staff. Are tips expected? On the one hand, you pay extra for the pampering. On the other hand, does the staff expect a tip?" I've stayed concierge at the Polynesian and Wilderness Lodge both times. I did not tip. I didn't see anyone else giving any tips. I'm not sure who you'd be referring to. There's a number of different staff. In terms of the concierge lounge, I mean, you hardly ever see anyone in there in terms of cast members. I mean, they're usually just coming in there to refill and take stuff away and refill whatever's there. But it's not like you're served or anything like that. If you're talking about the concierge cast members, the ones that like you go to like the desk and like I'd like to get a reservation here or something like that. If I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong about this, but I know that the regular cast members, like the ones ones working like an attraction, for instance, you cannot tip them. They're not allowed to take a tip. In fact, if you insist, what they can do is they can take the tip and they'll take it. They won't keep it themselves. They'll actually contribute it to a charity or some goodwill that they've got going on at the time. But they're not; those cast members are not allowed. I'm not sure if concierge falls under that same category of that. Do you guys know any different? I don't think it's expected. Beyond that, I don't think it's expected.
I would say I'm in agreement with you, Matt. I don't see any reason to tip. I mean, I don't need. Yeah. Here's the thing: I would not know what to base my tip on. So,
well, here's the thing that I would add though: if a cast member does a good job, and this is true for any cast member, concierge or otherwise, the best way you can compliment them is to write a letter to Disney about them. Because when you do that, it goes on their permanent file. It reflects on them very well. If it's a very good letter, in fact, they often get featured in internal cast member publications. I mean, it really goes a long way to their future with the company. And I would be willing to bet that most cast members would prefer a letter over any monetary, small monetary tips that you could offer them. So keep that in mind. Next email is from Brian, who writes, "Howdy, Matt, Mike, Len, and Annette, if you're there today. Okay, first, you know this one. You want to buy a sombrero?" I think it's a quote from something.
Is that from the new ride in Mexico?
I don't know. I have no idea. I don't think we wrote the answer here. Anyway, see, he says, right. Thought you would.
No.
No, we didn't.
So sorry.
Well, thanks for addressing an issue that's near to my heart, dealing with the heat in Florida in the summertime. I'd like to add that a good wide brimmed hat will do a lot to keep the sun from sucking the life out of you in both the long and short term. but an article published in the Orlando Sentinel about parasols reminded me of what people around the world use. Parasols. Not the frilly ones, but functional umbrellas that give you portable shade. The only thing is that you can be accused of being a girly man for using one, but it makes good sense to me. Thanks for the podcast, and I look forward to seeing you at the Princess Half Marathon race next March.
Well, that's never stopped you from being accused of being a girly man, Matt, so.
Thank you.
Nothing?
I appreciate that, Mike.
Sorry.
Next email is from Stephen Rickard of Central Florida. Writes, hi, Matt. I, too, am a huge Disney fan and did move to Central Florida from Long Island. I moved here in 2004, the year Central Florida was hit with 3 hurricanes, the worst hurricane season in over 100 years in Central Florida. I live in St. Cloud, about 21 miles from Walt Disney World, so here are my likes and dislikes. First, dislikes, traffic. Although I've driven the LIE every day on Long Island, I only drove the eastern end of the LIE, and I think the traffic in Central Florida is worse.
No way.
I don't think. No way. No way. Even 4
way.
is worse. Is never really that bad.
$4.95 is the worst.
Tolls. I begrudgingly pay the tolls to avoid the traffic, but it really bothers me to pay them. I agree. The tolls are kind of annoying, especially when you pay them every day. Living so close to Walt Disney World and not being able to visit often. Ironically, I am so busy working that I don't get to visit the parks nearly as often as I would like, and being so close and not being able to visit really bothers me. Telemarketers. Telemarketing must be unregulated in Florida or something, because I get more calls from telemarketers here than I ever did in New York. The torrential rain. I know we need the rain, but to get caught in one while driving is scary. I have to add that the torrential rain is terrible over here because it doesn't rain all day, but it'll rain for like an hour. And if you get stuck in a real bad one, I mean, the highway literally shuts down. That's how bad it is. It's like you put your windshield wipers all the way to full, and it's like, you know, it's not doing anything.
Mike.
It is kind of.
Mike, they're complaining of rain.
I know. He's spoiled already.
Rain. They're complaining about rain.
Rain. Oh, once the rain stops, though, it's gone, right?
Yeah, you don't need a truck to plow the rain out of the way or anything like that.
All right. The likes that Steve has. You can watch the space shuttle take off from your front yard.
That is cool.
When I can, day trips to Disney, obviously. No snow. Weather is perfect in wintertime. This is my favorite one. No state tax. That's true. No. What's it called? Income tax on your possessions and everything.
I live in New Hampshire. Live free or die. I have no state tax. I have no income tax.
No yearly inspections needed for like your car, like in New York. Newell.
Really?
Yeah.
That's bad.
That is bad.
Yeah. Well, it's good for us. Bad for the environment.
It's bad for anybody.
It's bad for business.
Next email is from Chad from the Bronx in New York.
Hey.
Dear Matt, Mike, Len, and Annette, hopefully, possibly Van. I got to WW today from Netcot. Well, thank you, Van. I have a question about resort reservations from a big family trip, and I figured that one should give you guys plenty of time to respond, so you got a year. We're planning a trip for 8 adults, 4 couples, and 5 kids, ranging in ages from 1 to 7 for next summer, likely July and August. Usually, I do the planning for the group because I am the biggest Disney geek and the only one plugged into the podcast and online community. However, my parents usually foot the bill, so I like to be as kind as possible. We like to stay at the deluxe resorts, but may go moderate if it's called for. Instead of getting 4 rooms, is there a better way to go? I've been eyeing the villas and mega villas at the DVC locations. I'm not a DVC member, and it doesn't seem worthwhile financially to go that route. Any bright ideas? I think offsite is a no-go because we want transportation and Magical Express access as opposed to 4 rental cars. And we love extra magic hours. Also, I thought about renting DVC points, but it seems to be a fishy business. Doing that, so that might not be an option. Well,
Wilderness Lodge.
Wilderness Lodge. What? 4 rooms there, or
How many people in this?
8 adults. There's 4 couples, so you need, and 5 kids. So 4 couples with a bunch of kids, thrown in there for good measure.
You know, my answer is.
What's your answer?
I would have never agreed to being off property, but I would, in a heartbeat, jump back to All-Star Vacation Homes.
That's what I was thinking.
That's right.
In a heartbeat. And I hate being off property, but I could do without Magical Express and I could do without the extra magic hour just to have what they have there. And
everybody under one roof too.
Yeah, I mean, we had 4 master bedrooms in that home. So if you go with a bunch of adults, your chances of getting a great room is very great. It's very good. So I mean, I would do that in a heartbeat. And I'm one that hates staying off property. But it was close.
Yeah,
it was close enough to Animal Kingdom where we were on property within 5 minutes. It was much closer than I thought. And I mean, I guess you just have to experience it before you could say never.
So the key here, Mike and Matt, would be how important extra magic hours would be to these guys.
To me, that would be that and the Magical Express. I mean, you have to rent a car to stay at All Star Vacation. You have no choice. And the extra magic hour you're not entitled to. So those two things, if that's gonna change your whole idea of it, then personally, I know where I would go.
Let me throw something else there. If you're going during a time of the year where the hours will be at least decent or even long, I'm talking like decent by me, like the parks are open until at least 9 o'clock or so, as opposed to September or January when the parks are closing very early. If that's the case, then I really don't think the extra magic hour thing is as big of a deal because if the park's gonna be open for a good 12 to 14 hours in the daytime, that's more than enough time to do it. And you really don't need extra magic hours. Bring a good touring plan and you will be set. So I don't think that issue I can see as being, you can kind of skip that. As for the bigger issue, which is of course Magical Express and rental cars, I can understand that. And obviously even if you rented a van or something, you're not going to fit everyone in one van. But I agree with Mike. I mean, really, after staying at that vacation home, I mean, obviously, as you can tell, we're kind of sold on the idea, and especially for you guys, I think it'd be good.
And I don't want to sound like a commercial. I'm trying to avoid that, but I mean, just the experience alone, I thought I never would have even thought about staying in a vacation home or off property for that matter.
Oh, absolutely. If it stinks, we mentioned. I mean, just look at Monday's show about Coronado Springs. I mean, there you go.
Yeah, I heard about that place.
Next email is from Scott Bushlin, who writes, "Hello, Matt, Mike's, Len, and lovely Annette. As Len has been away for the last few shows, I'm assuming he has been in rehab. The maple syrup is hard to shake, but just take it one day at a time." Very nice. On to the question. My folks visit their second home about 3 times a year, and I put them on the Kona Cafe after hearing of your recommendation. They now count it as one of their favorite restaurants when they visit. Any other restaurants that you would recommend that are still under the radar, or perhaps I should simply ask what each of your favorite food experiences are? I have one. Off the bat, I'll let you guys think about it. It is going to be, and Newell will back me up on this, is over at Saratoga Springs at the Turf Club.
Yes.
It's great, good food.
Yes. Very
good food, in fact. Reasonable, easy to get a reservation for. And I have a story to share. I actually received in the mail, and I don't know who this is from, so whoever this is, thank you. I actually received a case of the beer that they have, the Saratoga Lager, which is only available at Saratoga Springs and, of course, in the real Saratoga Springs, New York. But they have it over there, and I think I'd mentioned it on a show before. Anyway, I got a case of that beer, a T-shirt from the brewing company, some pint glasses from the brewing company. So, Newell, next time you come down here, beer's on me.
Woohoo! I'll be down tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, other than being bribed by the brewery, which is very nice, by the way. Have I mentioned that I really like GM cars? I mean, really, nothing says quality like a good Chevrolet. No, I'm just kidding.
That was my joke.
Yeah, I stole it.
You stole my joke.
I like Fort Knox myself.
I was just say going back to the question here. The
Turf Club.
Turf Club, thank you. Turf Club is very good. That's definitely under the radar. Definitely give that one a try.
Absolutely.
Newell, Scopa, any other ones that you think are under the radar that are really worth trying?
I like Fresh at the Dolphin.
Yeah, I enjoyed that too. It was really good. That was really good.
Next email is from Lisa in Jackson, Mississippi. Hi, guys, including Annette and any other guests. My best friend and I are planning a trip to Walt Disney World very soon, and we're planning to go to Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party while we're there.
Welcome back.
We decided on going the night that we're going on for a number of reasons. We thought the crowds might be a little bit better than going on another day. You guys have any tips for adults going to the party? We both love Halloween and costumes. We will arrive the day before and plan to go straight to Magic Kingdom, spend our morning in the Magic Kingdom, leave in the afternoon, then get back to the party for that evening. I'm guessing the trick-or-treating is geared towards children.
Nope.
We do absolutely not. We do both love character meetings photos. I'm looking forward to seeing villains. So far, outside of Fantasmic, I've only seen the Queen of Hearts and Cruella de Vil both at Disneyland. Any suggestions will be greatly appreciated.
All right, off the bat, they need to make plans to watch the Villains Mix and Mingle, which is in front of the castle. It's performed, I think, 3 times that on party nights, and what's nice is that it's not that long of a show, and at the end of the show, all the villains come down to mingle with the guests. So that's a great opportunity to have your photo taken with your favorite villain.
And
Absolutely,
definitely don't start trick or treating right away. I would wait till about 9 o'clock before I started.
Yeah, I would agree with that, Mike.
Yeah,
I went
early on. They're very conservative with their handouts.
Yeah, I went with Len like 2 weeks. You were there, right?
I was there.
Yeah, that's right. You were there, and we went there.
Thanks.
I swear to God, the first time we went through the line, we started the party started, at 7:00. We went through the first trick or treating line. I kid you not, the first time we went there, Josh, one of the researchers for Len,
Josh and
got
Sarah.
this is what he got for going through the line: 2 Tootsie Rolls.
Yep.
That was it.
And we waited in that line. We were in that line for a good, 3-4 minutes.
Yeah, I know, absolutely. Now let's compare that. Okay, so now let's fast forward to an hour or so later.
Yep.
They're giving you by the handful. They're trying to get rid of the stuff.
Yeah, and you have to wait till later on. I would say wait till around after 10. And what's that path in the back, Matt, near Space Mountain where they go into Toontown?
Oh,
Yeah.
Mad Hatter.
Yes. The Alice in
Yeah.
Wonderland.
It's the Alice in
man,
Wonderland.
that's the big jackpot back there.
Yeah, oh, yeah, absolutely.
They
I mean,
were
if you go,
great back
the real key about trick or treating is definitely, wait out that first hour, go ride some rides, or
Exactly. Because we wasted a lot of time online for candy and we barely got anything. And then towards the end, they were just filling the bag up with stuff. So it was really.
But definitely don't avoid that kind of stuff. 'Cause it is a lot of fun. There's nothing. I mean, definitely see the parade. Check out some of our older episodes about the parade. I mean, the wiki has some links to it also. The parade, excuse me, about the Not So Scary show Not So Scary party, because it is really well done, and definitely do not play it down as an adult.
Nope. And dress up. Totally dress up.
Absolutely. Next email is from Mike, who writes, hey guys, not so much of a question, just an observation. While visiting Orlando in early July, my family and I had made an unplanned trip to the studios. Coincidentally, I was listening to your podcast about creating a studios touring plan that morning, and I'm glad I didn't follow your advice. We started toward Tower, but on a hunch, backstrapped to Toy Story Midway Mania. When we got there, there was already a 45-minute wait at 8:10 a.m. We grabbed fast passes for 10:30 and rode Tower, Rock and Roller Coaster, and the Great Movie Ride with very short waits. After performance in High School Musical and a water break, it was time to head to Toy Story, where the wait now exceeded 90 minutes and fast pass return times were after 6 p.m. I know it requires some backtracking, but it seems like this attraction is new and popular. Good advice might be to start your day by grabbing fast passes for Toy Story, then riding Tower, Rock and Roller Coaster, the Great Movie Ride. I'm pretty sure if you rode Tower and Coaster first, the wait for Toy Story might have been prohibitive. The backtracking is not at all as bad as it's a small park. You guys are the experts, but this is just one man's humble observation. Mike, you're absolutely right about that. Len has since changed, actually, the touring plan to make Toy Story first. And that's simply because we thought maybe it might be novelty. It clearly is not novelty because it's still very, very, very popular. And if you're going to the studios, you definitely want to get Toy Story first if you're interested in doing it all for one day. And I think Mike's plan right there of Toy Story, Tower, Coaster, and Great Movie Ride is a great beginning for. Next email is from, gotta put your name in here, no name here, who writes, well, maybe just a little, the subject is my wife has the magic, well, maybe just a little, as she's just started. My wife and I have been together for 7 years, and our first trip together when we were dating was to Walt Disney World. And basically every spring or summer break since then, we had been to the world. Over the past few years, she has said how she does not want to go to Orlando again anytime soon, and definitely not to any of the theme parks. But our recent post 4th of July trip to Orlando planned by her included a day in the Magic Kingdom for our 5-year-old. I told her to let me get a touring plan and see what our best strategy should be. As suggested by the touring plan, we went to the Magic Kingdom on July 9th with a crowd number of 8. I forgot to print a copy of the plan, but I was able to remember the basic strategy. The longest queue we were in was 20 minutes. Everything else was 5 to 10 minutes. The funny thing was, as soon as we got off the rides, that's when she noticed the lines to be what we typically knew them to be. We rode basically all the major rides except Jungle Cruise. We left the park at 1 p.m., showered, got lunch, took a nap, and returned at 6 p.m. We went to the Monsters, Inc., Toontown, PhilharMagic, and saw the Spectrum Magic Parade and Wishes, and concluded our visit right after. My wife said if all our visits could have been this happy like this, she's game for an annual Disney trip. I've never seen my wife this happy in a theme park. She often took the lead, as Scopa sometimes suggested, and I should allow her to do so in the future. She wants to go back for Very Merry Christmas, so we're planning to do that now. My question is, that day it was a 40% chance of rain, but it didn't rain at all. The crowd would look big, but we seemed to get on the rides the first half of the day with ease. Was the crowd really innate, or was the touring plan just that effective? You guys do a great job and provide lots of valuable information. Keep up the good work. My wife says thanks as well. I really think the touring plans, I'm a big believer in touring plans. I think they really do work, especially in large crowds. And I think that really is why you had such a great time. It's no coincidence. I mean, you've tried it many other years with no touring plan, and you had bad results. And I think you see, the proof is in the pudding, so to speak. So I really think, I mean, even a basic touring plan. I'm not talking about maybe even the level the unofficial guide recommends, but even a basic one will do you better than just winging it, showing up at 11 a.m. and trying to get on to Space Mountain. Scope, any disagree with anything I said?
I want to reinforce what you said, Matt, because a lot of people don't realize that the touring plans that Len puts together is based on scientific data. It's based on huge samples of what type of crowd levels are at the parks during certain times of the year and everything. So, it's just a no-brainer that if you have a lot of scientific data, historical data, that if you use it right, then it'll predict pretty closely as to what you can expect for crowds. So I think it's a no-brainer to use it.
Absolutely. Next email is from William Tracy, who writes, I just read a really bad review over on another website about Trail's End changing the way the food is being prepared. Can you please have Scopa go check it out? Scopa, you've checked it out since they've changed it over the lunch. They went from they now have a cold menu, right?
Actually, what William, I think, is talking about is that they changed the lunch. They changed the luncheon offerings. I believe now it's only soup and sandwiches. I don't think that they have the full complimentary lunch and buffet that they used to have. I haven't been there since they've changed it, so I don't know about it.
I thought you've been there since they changed it.
No, I probably could have gone there in. Let me see. When did they change that?
Earlier in the summer, I believe, August or so.
I was there for breakfast, I think, but I haven't been there for lunch.
Actually, July. But we'll have to send Scopa over there. Scopa, you have a mission now in life.
Sure.
Next email is from Garrett from Memphis, Tennessee, who's Garrett JD on WDW Today and StudioSocial.com. Hoorah! Right, hello, Matt, Mike, Len, and possibly Annette. I spent most of the day on Saturday listening to, watching, and chatting during your live Magic Meet show. Just wanted to let you guys know what an outstanding job you all did with Magic Meets this year. It was great to be able to watch everything as it happened. I was absolutely blown away by the event, and I can't possibly imagine how amazing the event must have been in person. I'm bound and determined to make it next year to Magic Meets at some point in the future. Thanks to you guys for bringing us the event with you. Nice job, Mr. Newell.
Speaking of, I just got the DVD from Magic Meets. Have you guys gotten yours yet?
No, I did not. Oh, I haven't checked them out. I've been out of town for a couple of days.
Oh, that's right. You're in Atlanta. That's right. Yeah, it's.
I don't need it because I was there.
So was I. I was there too. In fact, in the very first scene, I'm in the very first scene. I'm watching. I'm like, oh my god, look at this.
Knowing Newell, this is what happened. He put the DVD in with Mary sitting there. Mary, I think this thing's gonna stink, but let me take a look at it. He pops it and he sees himself. Yep, it stinks. I don't like it already.
No, it's really good, and they have bonus features on it. Mike, your talk at on the Sunday is featured in there, and there's a lot of clips of Magic tunes. It's really good. It was well done. It was really good. I liked it.
Cool. Anyway, Garrett writes, I finally worked my way back through most of your show archives, and I thought of something I'd like to hear all of your thoughts on. My girlfriend and I made our first trip to the world in 2003. Since then, we made a total of 7 trips. We hope to make many more in the future. One of the things that we've really come to appreciate over the last several trips are the various live performers throughout the parks. As both my girlfriend and I are musicians, and she is a music teacher, we really enjoy some of the outstanding musical groups and performers. In fact, we've become such fans of some of the groups that seeing their performances is just as much of a priority as riding the headliner attractions. Some of our favorites are the Voices of Liberty at Epcot, Mulch, Sweat, and Shears, and For $4 at the studios, and the African Drummers at the Animal Kingdom. There are several others we love, but I won't list them here. I would like to hear your thoughts as to what are your favorite live performing groups, singers, instrumentalists throughout Walt Disney World. Newell?
Wow.
I was pleased to see that the Jammers were still there, but they are now called the Jammin' Chefs. Have you seen that yet? I don't know if it's a food and wine thing, but they do a similar show to what they were previously doing, but they do it on stoves and ovens, and they play with pots and pans. It's really, really good. Always been a big fan.
Any others that you're a big fan of, Mike? Because I know these are the kind of things you really pay attention to.
Well, as a musician, former musician, I love going to see Off Kilter. I've always loved going to see the British Invasion. Any type of live music, preferably rock music, I'm a big fan of.
Scopa?
I'm a big a cappella fan, so I like Voices of Liberty. I like For $4 in the studios. And I also like British Invasion. I think they do a pretty good job.
I agree. 4 for $1 was great. It's unfortunate that they were removed over there. The Voice of Liberty is just beautiful. I mean, it doesn't take much just to be really inspired by how well they perform over there. And that one, they do a really good job at that one as well. The other one I want to also mention is Divine. I mean, we were talking about instrumentalists, but also live performances. They do. I mean, I think it's a she, is very talented. And of course, I'm a huge fan of the Citizens of Hollywood, the Streetmosphere characters over at the studios. I think they also do an excellent job. So definitely check some of those out. Let's see here. Next question. Oh, I think it's time for our last question. Mike Newell, you know what that means. You get to pick that last question. Woo-hoo. All right, Mike, you've got. All right, here's your options.
Yeah.
First is beverages at the boardwalk. I think a topic that's near and dear to your heart. Question number 2, thanks to the crew. Or question number 3, trip report show.
Wow. That's a tough one. I'm all for beverages at the boardwalk, so let's go with that. You know me. I'm a big fan of the Bellevue Lounge.
Very good.
Props out to Alan at the Bellevue Lounge.
Next email is from Jason, who writes, how's it going? I want to let you know that the lager over at Saratoga, I know you like the lager over at Saratoga Springs, but I had to ask this. I put in the Disney Vacation propaganda the other night for my daughter to watch. She gets a kick out of it. Well, it was on late, so I didn't want to put in a different DVD before she went to bed, so they started playing some of the other features of their propaganda, and when it was covered the boardwalk, it mentioned a microbrewery at the boardwalk. Now, I know the DVD is probably outdated, but do you know if, well, number 1, it's still there, and number 2, if it's any good? I smell a research trip coming up. Yeah, he's referring to the Big River Grill and Brewing Works restaurant that's located on the boardwalk over there. If you were on the boardwalk facing the hotel, so from the boardwalk area, it'd be your right hand side over there. What's good about it is that they don't take reservations. They're not a Disney owned restaurant. So what's good about that is that it's good for walk ups. The bad news is you can't make a reservation in advance, but I mean at least you don't have to. It's a good last minute kind of thing. And usually if you get there early enough in the day, you can make a reservation for later in the day. Anyway. I like the food over there. They have a great beer sampler. They make all their beers over there. The beer sampler is a really good option from there. I would definitely recommend that one. Have any of you eaten at the Big River?
I have. Last Mouse Fest I ate there.
How'd you like it?
It was pretty good. You're right though, Matt. I mean, I'm pulling out my Disney dining experience, and then I was told, "Oh, wait a minute, we're not Disney owned, so I couldn't use that." But it was pretty good. I had a nice lunch. I didn't try any of the brews, but I thought it was nice. I like the idea of it's a walk up, and you have a pretty good shot at getting a table. I think I'd go back. I think that's the question I always ask people: would you go back? And I would go back for another meal there.
Very good. Well, that's it for us today. Don't forget that this episode of WDW Today has been sponsored by MEI and Mouse Fan Travel. And like Mike Newell, when I think of Disney's Boardwalk Resort, I think of MEI and Mouse Fan Travel for many reasons, but most of which, of course, they can book you a stay at the Boardwalk or any of the Disney resorts, of course. Give them a try. They're the official travel agency of WDW Today. And be sure to, if you have questions about the Boardwalk, I can guarantee you Becky and the staff over there are guaranteed to know all the information about that because they know that resort very, very, very well. So definitely give them a try. Visit them online at www.mousefantravel.com. That was a very inside joke, Mike Newell.
Yes, I know.
Very, very inside.
I know.
As like 5 people got that joke.
I know. They know who they are.
2 of them. Yeah. Anyway, if you want to find our older episodes, read our show notes, or send us your comments, visit the WDW Today website at www.wdwtoday.com. For Len Testa, Mike Scopa, and Mike Newell, I'm Matt Hotchford. We'll see you on the next show.
This has been a production of Mouse World Radio.